Do some welding with our new extension cord, which Tim said works much better. Here I am back down at the shop for another day. Got a few things on the go. The first, I'm gonna deal with this problem today on both sides. But before I get started on that, and before I even talk about anything else, there's something that I've got to show everyone. So, as you know, we've been plugging away at this, and the transformation has been pretty amazing to say the least. The biggest change happened yesterday, and that was putting this rear pan in. Now, I'll cut back to the footage of when we brought it in, or maybe when we picked it up or whatnot, but what consistently blows me away about this car and what Tim and Ron are accomplishing on it is the fact that they've been able to save so much of it. When we first picked it up, I was sure that we were going to have to buy a whole bunch of body panels for it and cut off quarters, weld everything back in. But what has been done is absolutely amazing. There was nothing at all left back here. It was just some wings floating in the air. And it certainly didn't look like the back end of a car, and now it does. Tim was able to track this panel down online for relatively cheap. I'm not sure where it comes from, but the quality is good. And then as for me, I've got some little bit of rot in the trunk here that I'm gonna have to deal with today. Let's see if we can use our key to get it open. So this here, I haven't got my light so it's hard to see, but I'll vacuum up this mess. Look, there's a spring there, there's some broken bolt heads, there's some structure here. I mean, it's not absolutely necessary, but it'll just clean things up, make sure that there's no hole and that there's nothing getting in to the trunk at all. I'm gonna start off with this, maybe do a little bit of time lapse to record myself. So I just went and got a little bit of tin here. I'll get it in, tack it, keep building it up, and then eventually what I'll do is I'll just get it as flat as I can, grind it down. It won't be perfect, but it will go along with the theme of the car, which is ratty. Oh, my light is going to die. All right, I better go get a new battery and charge this one up. Okay, this side is somewhat done. A little bit of cleaning up left to do. It was definitely a bigger job than I thought. So what I'm going to do now is go over to the other side and work on that and get that done just to mix things up a little bit. I'll come back here and deal with this later on and just plug up those little holes. The other side was in bad shape, but this one I believe is actually in worse shape. It's pretty Swiss cheesy. I think one of the problems, maybe I'm wrong, is this hoop for the fender skirt. It looks as though probably it caused a reaction in the metal or something like that, or helped catch salt and snow and whatnot, and then it just kind of rotted right up. I'm gonna have to kind of formulate some sort of game plan because we got a front here that's got a big hole in it. Now, the other side had a big hole down here, and this seems to still be relatively solid. Okay, so what I did is I cut this piece out. It was just too far gone. I wanted to save it and keep it in there and make it look kind of cool. So what I've done instead, and it's pretty rough looking right now, is I just made another piece. I'm gonna keep it going through on the form of the fender because I didn't cut all this stuff off. And then I'll just move along and tack it, hammer it along and whatnot. And hopefully it looks okay. Never done anything like this one before, so it probably won't be perfect, but I guess it'll be better than that big mess. And then the worst of it is done. And there we go, the other side more or less done. It's a little rough, but it'll do the trick, and it's also way better than what it was before. Very rat roddy, I would say, and we have no worries about pieces flying off when we're going down the highway. Didn't get as much done today as I had hoped for, but this ended up being a lot more work than I had anticipated. So I'm on to the trunk the next time I'm down. Back at the garage for another day to tie up some loose ends. What I really want to accomplish today is something that I mentioned earlier in the episode, but I didn't get a chance to do the day that I was working on the other stuff. So I'm gonna start tacking stuff into here. I'll do some cleanup too and whatnot, and once this is done, you can see that's a nice hole right there. Oh, that spring fell out, look at this. Patch up that little hole too. Pretty crumbly here. Looks like metal's all right here. Pretty Swiss cheesy there, and there, and along here. So it's bracket making time after I get rid of some of these wires and stuff. I'm gonna just start on this side, and it's worse. It's harder to see because the light's off. This isn't as bad. It's still not great, but we'll get it all cleaned up. It's this hole here I'm not quite sure what to do with. Tim kind of wants to leave it just to give it that rat roddy type of look. Start with this, get this braced, and then I'll figure out the rest of the stuff along the way. Okay, so I'm cutting my first plate here for our rear bracket. Oh, came in handy, better than cutting it with the grinder. Perfect. One bracket. These are just the old wires for the taillights. Ancient. I'm just gonna replace anyway, so I'll cut them out of the way. Ear protection for the camera person. Ear protection for this guy. All right, so this next part's gonna be way easier. So we'll just do this whole span right here. Short, easy, zip zip. This metal here is much better than what we were dealing with there. I'll make this look nicer later. So we've got 2 1/4. Let's hope this is about 14, which, get that left out. Might have enough metal. 3/4. So there we go. One side all stuck in. I got a little bit of work over here that I need to do. Some reaching. Maybe I'll throw a tack in there before I start working on the other side, but then I'm off over here. Maybe clean up a little bit of a mess first. So this over here is in a little bit worse shape than I thought. You can see we got some holes coming up here, a little bit of sunlight through, so, and kind of a weird type of angle there. So I think I'm gonna get out the cardboard, make myself a template, and then I'll get this ground up a little bit more, bend up some metal, and go to town, and then I can weld up everything on this side so it looks more like that. Oh, my grinder's covering it up. All right, I'm gonna get that template started. Another episode done. Getting the back end of the car finished up. Took a little bit longer than I expected. Got some nice penetration right there. But things are moving along. We'll get all the other little odds and ends and stuff like that zipped up before we know it, and then we'll be on to phase 2. So, thanks for watching, everybody. We truly appreciate it. Make sure to click the like button if you like the video. I know sometimes it's getting a little bit repetitive, lots of welding and picking around and stuff like that, but we're nearing the end of those little things. There's going to be some exciting big jumps hopefully soon. Also, click the subscribe button so you can keep up to date on what's going on, because there is lots more to do on this guy, and there is plenty more to do on this guy too. And of course, it's just fun to watch. So, make sure to stay on top of things. Keep following. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good one.